It's May 6th, 1985, and another remarkable event is about to be uncovered by Ariel, Rebecca, and Ali, the Retrospectors.
It was today in history in 1985 that Duran Duran's A View to a Kill hit record shelves, beginning a journey to number one in the US Billboard chart that would make it the first, and so far only, James Bond theme song to take that top spot. And it was today in history right now that I learned that the song isn't called Dance Into the Fire.
Well, it is confusing because they sing, don't they, with The View to a Kill... And it's called A View to a Kill, and I just thought that's strange. I mean, like, fine, don't make the title of the song the title of the film, but at least when you reference the title of the film, get it right.
I mean, I wonder if that does expose the curiosity of how films and soundtracks and everything comes together, because they would have maybe been thinking about their own music at the same time as the productions coming together, and who knows, maybe they weren't fed enough information to get everything right on the day. I mean, the origin story for how the song came about has the same exact chaotic energy that you'd kind of hope for in this song. The bassist, John Taylor of Duran Duran, reportedly approached Bond producer Albert R. Broccoli at a party, and just emboldened by booze or the moment or whatever, he asked why they never chose, quote, a decent band to do a theme.
Which was ballsy, given the roll call of people who had done Bond songs by this point. Tom Jones, Shirley Bassey, Paul McCartney. Yeah.
And also probably tells you something about bassist John Taylor and the band themselves. But Broccoli's response was essentially, well, go on then. And at the time, Duran Duran were one of the biggest bands in the world. All the sort of gloss and stylish everything 80s that you would anticipate. But crucially also, they were unabashed Bond fans. And this mattered because Bond themes have always tended to work best when the artist leans into the assignment rather than trying to subvert it in any way.
And actually, I should just say, the reason we're talking about this is not just because it's a banger and it's fun. It's also because this is remains the only James Bond song ever to hit number one in the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, which is remarkable given that back catalogue of how many great artists have done James Bond themes.
Yeah, and it sits in this weird place where it is a really good pop song, a really good Duran Duran song. It was written by the band themselves. It was arranged for a 60-piece orchestra by the famed Bond composer John Barry. And it does sound great, but it didn't really work in the context of the film because the main takeaway from critics at the time was how old Roger Moore looked. And so you had this synthy 80s pop sound, and then you had, he was 57 and he looked 57. We're talking about, a mid-80s 57, and he was unenthusiastic to be doing this role again. He hadn't wanted to do Bond again. He knew that he was too old for the part.
His eyebrow was hurting by this point.
Yes, yeah, switched to the other one. His off-screen lack of enthusiasm really translated onto the screen. Like, a lot of critics lingered on the fact that he was noticeably low energy in the action sequences and that he seemed almost embarrassed to be in the romantic scenes opposite Tanya Roberts, who was 20 years his junior. The Washington Post critic Paula Tanasio said, Moore isn't just long in the tooth, he's got tusks, and what looks like an eye job has given him the pie-eyed blankness of a zombie. Like, imagine waking up to read that about yourself. So in the context of the film, having this hot band doing this great synthy 80s song really didn't help the film land any better.
Yeah, although I haven't seen The View to a Kill, but the supporting cast itself is extraordinary. I mean, you read it, you're like, who's in it? So it's Christopher Walken, Grace Jones, Patrick McNee and Dolph Lundgren alongside Roger Moore. It sounds amazing. But 38% score on Rotten Tomatoes, not a classic. And yet this song is often in the sort of top 3 or 4 when people talk about the best Bond songs. And the video, of course, we're in 1985, Duran Duran, New Wave, British, MTV, we've talked about this before. If they do a music video, it's going to be a music video. And, I mean, okay, it's dated and ridiculous and badly spliced with footage from the film, but it is a classic. So if you haven't seen it, the band individually, because they'd actually split by this point, by the time they filmed the video, so they didn't want to be in a room with each other. So each one of the 5 members of the band have filmed individually doing things. But anyway, they're individually on the Eiffel Tower playing different characters the best of whom I would say, played by Simon Le Bon, has an explosive Walkman. He can open up his Sony Walkman and explode helicopters with buttons, secret buttons inside it, from the Eiffel Tower. Pretty cool.
Love it. Well, yeah, MTV, which was still new at this point, but already a hugely influential force, gave that video heavy rotation. And the band's image really did kind of align perfectly with that visual culture of the time, not least because they were using technology like Walkmans, which were cutting edge. But there was something novel about a Bond theme that didn't feel like a relic of an earlier musical era. It really did sound current, and it could sit comfortably alongside other chart hits rather than being filed under the title of film music. You know, but also I think Simon Le Bon delivers the vocals with the right sincerity. You know, it really does feel Bond appropriate. And it's not, there's no parody. He's really there dancing into the fire with you.
Which I think, I mean, for me, the quintessential Bond tune is Thunderball. And apparently Tom Jones, after delivering that, literally fell to the floor with exhaustion.
Love it. Yes.
I feel like that's the level of commitment that I want from a Bond song. So after this, you had a-ha and their song The Living Daylights, which is equally sort of contemporary. If you listen to it, you're like, oh yes, it's Bond in the 80s. But it's weird because they just sound like they can't be asked. They're doing a much cooler, like, oh, we're singing something about a guy with a gun. They don't care. Whereas Simon Le Bon, he goes for it. It's life and death.
Yeah. I mean, same with the one with my favourite, which is Goldfinger. And Shirley Bassey is just absolutely in full Shirley Bassey mode.
Yeah. And the interesting thing with Goldfinger was that it was the first time that a Bond film had an original song over the title sequence. So Goldfinger was the third Bond film. Dr. No didn't have a Bond song, as they would come to be. It had the iconic instrumental theme composed by Monty Norman. From Rush with Love, obviously there was the song From Rush with Love, as sung by Matt Monro, but that version played over the closing credits. So there was no big song to get you into the film. And the thing that was really funny about Goldfinger is that it was composed by John Barry again. It was written by Leslie Bricusse and Anthony Newley, but neither of them were given any details about the script because it was top secret. All they were told is that like a character gets gilded in the film. So when you know that and you listen to the song and you realise that what they're doing is basically spitballing these really vague lyrics about who Goldfinger might be and what kind of person he might be in the film. But then that established this tradition where you had a song. The song had the same title as the film, and it played over the opening credits, and that carried on
apart from in Quantum of Solace.
Yes,
no one wanted to write a song called that.
This first ran up against problems in 1969 with On Her Majesty's Secret Service. John Barry pointed out that the only way you could get that title into a song was if it was a Gilbert and Sullivan pastiche. So it was agreed that instead it would have an instrumental, which makes a lot more sense. You might remember it having All the Time in the World, sung by Louis Armstrong. That was actually composed by John Barry, but that's played during the film, during the sort of falling in love montage, because everyone recognised that you couldn't have a song called On His Majesty's Secret Service. They didn't actually relax that rule until 1977, when Carly Simon, doing the song for The Spy Who Loved Me, ended up calling it Nobody Does It Better. That was the first film that didn't share its title with the movie itself, although obviously the movie title is within the lyrics.
But Bond themes do usually inspire quite strong opinions. You know, you have your Goldfingers, Live and Let Dies, Nobody Does It Better, often in people's favourite list. And then you have at the other end of the spectrum, Die Another Day by Madonna, which tends to divide listeners. And then there are the weird sort of curiosities like You Know My Name by Chris Cornell, which had a kind of rockier feel that was meant to reflect the grittier reboot Casino Royale. So, you know, everyone has a different sense of what the Bond theme is and should be. And you know, and I think it's another way that the franchise makes itself relevant in each new era by kind of reinventing its sound as well as its look and its style.
Widely considered one of the worst Bond themes was All Time High from Octopussy. It was written by Tim Rice and performed by Rita Coolidge. And it's like, it is a very it's a very much a dud song, but also you just think about the fact that obviously they had run up against this obstacle again. They can't call the title song Octopussy.
Well, you say they can't. Again, Tom Jones performing Octopussy would be extraordinary, wouldn't it?
I think he could have. Imagine the knickers raining down on the stage during Octopussy.
Tomorrow. Ditch the ads and get a Sunday episode when you join Club Retrospectors. Patreon.com/retrospectors.